welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigated successive waves of the COVID-19 pandemic makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them, understand their views on life and leadership, and also get a sense of what they do to unwind and recharge when they are not in business mode. It is said that one conversation can change the direction of life forever. It is also said that there is nothing better than a cup of tea to get you going. So grab your cup of tea or coffee and join me, Ivan Rodrigues, for a very exciting cutting chai conversation. Today, it's my pleasure to host Anshuman Das, Chief Information Officer at Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Anshuman, welcome to the ET Cutting Chai Stories.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ivan, for this opportunity to have a chai with you.
Wonderful. I've got my cup of chai. I hope you have yours too. Even if you don't have, that's fine.
Not yet,
No. Okay. Let's start, Anshuman. Let me start by asking you something, I like to ask all people in the tech field. It is said that creative thinking is the lifeblood of any organization. How do you encourage it within your organization to keep the new ideas coming?
So, as you mentioned, right, in COVID, we are no longer meeting together, right? So, things that we have done is utilize things like creating surveys, etc., across organization and asking the people for their feedback as well as ideas. So we are doing this quite often now. We are actually sending out surveys asking people on their thoughts on specific topics. Also, just open question on providing ideas, and we are collating all ideas. We recently did something around marginal gains. There is this whole concept about marginal gains. What small things that we can do to make things better or achieve a larger, goal. So we've asked everybody to provide what they would want to do as a marginal gain, and that's something that we are collating as an organization. How small efforts across the organization can help the organization to become much better.
Wonderful. I like the way you started, marginal gains. Sometimes we talk about the big picture, we talk about the vision, we talk about long-term targets, long-term plans, and we sometimes forget that organizations are built through incremental gains, as you said, or incremental measures. And those are the little steps that build an organization. So I think that's a fantastic initiative, and I'm sure you might have come across a lot of feedback that has helped the organization. Wonderful. Anshuman, let me ask you, we talked about COVID. So pre-COVID to post-COVID, has your approach towards life, family, and the community changed at all, or is it still the same?
So at least I can tell about my family and life. There was a time prior to COVID when, I was sitting in a traffic jam and saying, God, take me out of this traffic jam. And then suddenly for 2 years, we were at home, and I was thinking, God did respond to my prayers, but this was not the way I had thought he would.
Yes.
But really speaking, it did give us an opportunity to connect back with my family. I at that point had a 2-year-old, and now she's 4.
Okay.
But I was able to see her grow, whereas my elder daughter, who is 12, I sometimes feel that I missed, that part of her childhood because I was commuting, right? So that is a huge plus that us being locked down, so to speak, has provided a connect with the family. And then if you ask me, it's also all about work-life integration. We talk about work-life balance, but COVID has taught us to how to integrate work life. We are now, of course, meetings don't even have a gap of a minute, and while you in office you were going from one room to the other, at least you had a few moments of walking, etc. So it's become more sedentary in that sense, but you still get time in the morning, in the evening, when you are not commuting, to actually utilize it for a little bit of a walk, and focus towards your health as well. So this whole integration, there are some plus and minuses, but I think it's more or less helped a lot of people. It has provided us some time for us to go back and do some of our learnings,
Yes.
going looking at new things, and reading things, etc. Things which would not have been possible if we were going to office every day. So I
Sure.
think that a lot of things have changed. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, let's go down memory lane, and let me try and jog your memory. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or say later college,
Yeah.
could you let us know about any positive influences or incidents that contributed towards shaping your foundation in those formative years?
Yeah, actually, my father is actually quite known for his comic creation called Chiku. It's in Champak. So
Really?
he's been, yeah.
That's his
So
creation?
yeah, it's his creation. It's been there since 1971, and
Wow.
he's still doing it. Uh, he turned 76, but he's still making Champak, Chiku in Champak. So he told me that, if you want to become a master artist, you have to first learn how to copy the masters, how to learn from the existing masters. You cannot draw and become a master artist or create a masterpiece on one go. You have to first learn to copy, let's say, Van Gogh, to become better than Van Gogh. And I think that's been a very important learning since my entire childhood. And copying the leaders, copying others, and get seeing what to do and also what not to do from others has helped me come to where I am. And I think that's one area which is certainly very important for me. So that was a good learning from childhood.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wow. So we have somebody who is extremely famous here. Your dad. I mean, I have grown up on Champak, so I finally met the creator of Chiku, which was wonderful.
No, I didn't create. It's my dad.
Yeah, yeah, it's your dad. It's your dad. Yeah, but your family. Yeah, so that's wonderful. Great. Um, this is a question, that I look to listen to when I speak to people such as you. And the question is as follows: as an organization gets larger, there can be a tendency for the institution to dampen the inspiration. And what I mean by that is, there's a whole bunch of people working towards, say, the goals of the organization, but they have their own dreams, their own aspirations, which sometimes may or may not fall in line with the overall vision of the company. So how do you prevent this from happening, or how do you marry the two?
Yeah. So I think I can tell you that whatever you are saying is definitely right. I started my journey in a startup, then moved to companies like Adobe and Citigroup for 9 years, and then to Edelweiss, which wanted to become a big institution and is becoming an institution in itself, and then back to Sher Khan, which is part of a large institution like BNP, right?
Yeah.
So anytime you grow, any company which starts as a founder driven company at some point would reach a place where it wants to grow bigger than the founder themselves, right? And become an institution. And that's where the whole complexity arises, right? You need people um, to have that resonance, right? Of what is needed to become an institution, and and sometimes it is in conflict with founder-driven culture, for sure. But that is the big piece. When so in management, I've been taught, in leadership, etc., that what the skill set that brings you to a point, in that leadership triangle, skill set that brings you to a point and to
True.
the position that you are in, needs to have a 180-degree change for the next journey,
Yes.
right? So that is true for companies and institutions as well, and that's where managers like myself come in place. We need to have good managers, good people. I won't say leaders. Leaders, I think it's oversold, but you have to have good managers who can understand what is the need for from an institutional perspective versus what is the need from a business perspective, and bring the right balance. Sometimes you will have to go against the business
Yes.
for the larger institutional needs, and but you have to keep a balance, because uh, if we just think of from an institution perspective and there is no business, that's also a problem, right? So
Yes.
it is actually a complex job of a manager such as myself. I can't describe it in a line, but it is what it is.
No, I think you were pretty articulate. It made perfect sense to me. Um, you talked about skill sets and then taking you up to a certain point. So my next question for you, Anshuman, is when faced with two equally qualified candidates, how do you determine whom to hire, given that both of them have the same experience, they fall within the CTC or the package, uh, they have the same skill set. Uh, what do you look for? How do you choose between the two?
See, if everything is same, right, and even if like certain skills are a little uh, here and there, the first thing that I would look at is the attitude of the person, which includes integrity of the person. If the person uh, is staying in a company for X time, etc. What is the integrity level of the person? The way the person comes out in terms of enthusiasm for the new role, right? It also talks about a lot of things. If a person is enthusiastic, the person would have researched the role also, would be giving you certain good pointers as to why that person himself is the right set for the role. Most of the time, my interview is starts with description of the role more than anything, because by the time people come to me, I am assuming that they are technically good, because
Yes.
they've gone through a few rounds, right? So most of the time, I actually judge on this piece only. It's not the technical. Everyone who comes to me is more or less similar in the technical skill set.
Yes.
uh, but the attitude makes all the difference,
Got
and it is easy to you know after spending like 10 plus years of hiring people at senior levels, it becomes easy now to figure out after a few probing questions, so it even if you probe a little bit on the resumes, some people would want to load their resumes with a lot of keywords, etc., and it will become very obvious after a few minutes that they've just put those and they don't know much about it.
correct.
That tells me a lot about their integrity. you know
Mm,
uh, I would rather select a person who has written less in the resume but knows a lot,
sure.
right? Versus someone who has written so much, but if you dig deeper, in 2 minutes, you know that the person is just putting keywords and not knowing anything.
And there's no depth. Yeah.
Yeah, no depth. Yes. So those are few things that becomes obvious, and the
Yeah.
way person talks, etc. So it is not very difficult to figure out a person.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Wonderful. Anshuman, how much of a role has luck played a factor in your life? Or has it just been about your qualifications, your experience, and hard work?
And I think luck plays a factor in every sides. I sometimes think I've been on the harsher side of luck because, in 2003, when I was to start my first job, just before that, I got notified by the company who had given me campus offer that because of the IT bust, etc., they need to defer my joining. Okay. But at some point in time, I still joined the same company.
Okay.
And then in 2007, after my MBA, I had joined City, and 2008 crisis happened. So in the 2008 crisis, while it was a crisis, and I could always say that I was unlucky because the crisis hit and City was in the middle of the financial crisis. I think it went on the positive side because a lot of other people got affected, left, or were asked to leave, and I suddenly got a lot of ownership. And I was the only remaining employee in IT, so had to do a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So that in itself, it was, you can say it was bad luck, good luck, but it was luck in some ways, right? And while luck is basically providing you opportunity, and if you are ready to grasp it, and then the hard work comes in play,
Sure. Sure.
and it's just if you are focused on the hard work and are ready, and also you realize when an opportunity is passing by only when you are ready for it,
Absolutely.
right? So while people say that that other guy may be lucky, behind the scene that person has spent a lot of time being ready for that, and luck passes everybody. So
Sure.
yes, luck is part of everybody's success, and I don't think I'm yet a success, but uh, everybody has some percentage of luck there. But I think a large percentage is everybody's hard work also. It's a
Absolutely.
balance of both.
Absolutely. My boss had once explained this to me. A lot of people used to say, this guy is risen because he's lucky, and this guy is unlucky. So he sat me down once and he told me, he said, Ivan, when preparedness meets opportunity, exactly what you
Yes,
said.
yes,
Preparedness meets opportunity, it is termed as luck.
yes,
So
yes,
opportunities will come. The point is, how prepared are you at that point to respond to it, grab it,
yeah,
and prove yourself? So
yes.
that cleared
and
everything for me.
and just to add also, the things which seem like a bad luck or a challenge can always be an opportunity as well. So
Absolutely.
that's how it is.
Absolutely. My next question is an interesting one. You lead teams, you manage teams. So, you know, very often, and I'm sure you've seen it within your team too, there is competition uh,
Yes.
amongst team members also. So, my question to you, Anshuman, is
Yeah.
competition within a team healthy? Why or why not?
So I think yes. Uh, you know, I'll take a context out of a book called Lost Horizon. I read it when I was in IIT sometime back, 20 plus years back. Okay, and this is a very well-known book which initiated the whole concept of the term Shangri-La. I'm sure people would have heard Shangri-La, but this is the book which introduced that term. And there was this monk in this book, and he was talking about the whole uh, thing about living it. I mean, having a moderation in life,
Hmm.
and the line is saying that uh, we avoid all excesses of all kind, even including the paradox of this virtue, as in we in some ways saying that we follow moderation moderately.
Mm.
So how does this link to this? Everything when used moderately is good. Of
Yes.
course, the whole paradox of doing it also always is not good. But in the context of competition, if there is a moderate amount of competition within your team, it is actually good.
Yes.
Okay, it is healthy. But if the competition becomes too much, it doesn't become healthy. So a job of a people manager like me is to come in and resolve conflict when there is too much of a competition, but also the job is to introduce competition some places, because if you don't, people become relaxed. If there is no competition, then and everybody is getting the same, then there is, socialism doesn't really work.
Yeah,
All fingers are not the same, right? You have to have some level of competition between the team, so that everybody is also energized
sure,
in,
sure,
in getting. So
sure.
that's how.
Wonderful, wonderful answer. Uh, Anshuman, do you remember receiving your first salary? And if yes, how did you spend the money you received from your very first job?
So I, before my getting into a job, while in IIT, as I mentioned, my father is a cartoonist, so he wanted to uh, get into animation. He tried, had failed. So we had got some green light from Doordarshan for a series. So
Okay,
uh, but that needed investment. So when I got my first salary, uh, I bought a sari for my mother, and another gift for my sister. But a large part of uh, the salary, not just the first, but first 1.5, 2 years salary actually went in, uh, you know, that particular project of my father.
okay,
Uh, so we brought in computers, etc.,
okay.
software for the animation, got a few people, and at least that ran. So my
Yes,
father's dream got done. So
wonderful,
that is how I remember spending most of my initial salary.
wonderful, wonderful. Great. May I ask you, Anshuman, as to what makes life meaningful for you?
I think it is the kids. Okay.
The kids.
And yeah, the kids. I have two, and I was telling this to my wife yesterday also, that for me at least, the meaning of life, on life becomes meaningful because I see the kids, and just just the just the whole having this purpose of uh, raising them well, that is definitely a huge thing. Everybody is seeking purpose in life. I am
Yes,
too, or other purposes, but one of the purpose definitely is raising the kids right manner, and that is definitely something that gives meaning to life.
wonderful, wonderful. I'm really enjoying this conversation. I think you're extremely honest. You're extremely frank. You're very grounded. So what we'll do now, Anshuman, is we'll move on to another segment, which is called the one word, one line answer. I'll throw a set of questions at you, and I'll request you to answer in a single word, no justification required. And I'll give you some options later, and kindly choose one of them. So, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. May I ask you, what's your favorite food, uh, meal, or dish?
Chicken.
Nice. Favorite subject in school?
Computer science.
Okay. And most disliked subject in school?
Hindi.
I like the way you actually got into a shell there, and very sheepishly said
Yes.
Hindi.
I'm afraid it can become, nowadays some people might troll me. So
Oh God, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about that. Uh, Kindly choose one of the two options: high EQ or high IQ for you.
um, I think a mixture of both. It's not one or the other,
Okay,
but definitely high EQ is better than high IQ.
sure, sure. Friends or family, choose one.
Family.
Okay. Would you rather test the waters or dive into the deep end?
While I would like to dive, but I am spending my life testing the water. So
So I said, you're not a good swimmer, is it?
I don't know how to say that.
Okay. Would you prefer to have more time, Anshuman, or more money?
Time.
More time. Okay. Let me see if I'm pronouncing these words correctly. Would you rather have Radha Balabhi, that is the lentil stuffed puri, or Korai Shutur Kachuri, which is kachuri with boiled ginger, chilies, and masalas, or luchi and cholar dal?
I have not had the other two, so luchi and chola dal.
Wonderful. Okay. Then let me ask you whether you had these. Choose one of these. Bhetki Mached Pachuri or Chingri Mached Malai Curry?
Bhetki mach.
Chingri Mached?
No, bhetki mach. I
Bhetki
am
Mached. Okay.
allergic to. I am allergic to chingri mach.
Okay. 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 That's fine. Great. Wonderful. Sandesh or Cham Cham?
Sandesh.
Okay. Could you describe your journey, Anshuman, thus far in 3 words?
Yours, okay. I have to think.
Take your time.
Hard work, learning,
Okay.
and and passion.
Okay. Good. Wonderful. If you were to be stuck in a room for 24 hours, whom would you choose to be stuck with? I'm going to give you 4 options. Kindly choose one. Bill Gates, Narendra Modi, Sachin Tendulkar, or Devdutt Patnaik?
Devdutt Patnaik, I've heard him, and he's very humorous.
Okay. Wonderful. That's great. Complete the sentence. Some of the things I used to love that I don't do anymore are dash, dash, dash.
Coding, I love coding. I am not getting too much time to code
Do that.
with so much of other work.
Got it.
But coding is something that
Yeah.
gives me.
Wonderful. Behind every great man, there is dot, dot, dot.
Definitely a woman. I think
Okay.
that is.
Okay. Great. Each day I get older, I realize that dot, dot, dot.
I'm also getting wiser.
Wonderful. Final question in this segment. If a movie were to be made on your life, which actor would you want to play you?
I think I have to do it myself.
You'll have to do it yourself? Okay, that's fine. A new career awaits you.
Probably.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm reminded of a couple of quotes, Anshuman, and I must tell you, when in this interaction of about 25 minutes, Stephen Covey said, what you do has far greater impact than what you say. And for me, you have come across as a doer, somebody who believes in walking the talk and not just talking. And that's the vibe I've got from you, and also from what you've said and answered to the questions that I posed. And there is this Chinese proverb which says, it's not the cry, but the flight of a wild duck that leads the flock to fly and follow. We've seen those formations. So it's again about doing. It's not the cry saying, come follow me, but it's the flight of a wild duck that leads the flock to fly and follow miles and miles. So you remind me of that, Anshuman. So on that note, I would like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Anshuman Das, Chief Information Officer, Sher Khan by BNP Paribas. Anshuman, I had a wonderful time. I hope you did too. I wish you, your organization, and your family the very best going forward.
Thank you, Ivan. I had definitely a very, very good time and wonderful time myself. Lovely questions.
Thank you.
And reflected me to think a little bit. Thank
No,
you.
that's fine. That's wonderful. I love the answers. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.